ColonelFund, Design, Retrospective, Process Review. Our process for assigning tasks was not a top-down approach. We would not have someone dictate which tasks would go to each person. At the start of each sprint, we would go through each task on the backlog, and a team member would say if he or she wanted to implement it. This worked well because team members generally took whichever task they had the most experience in and preferred to do. For our process of collaborating on tasks, if a team member needed help on implementation such as Firebase integration or database functionality, that team member would post in Slack and would be assisted by whichever member could help. Having a small team meant everyone knew everyone else's strengths and areas of expertise. Those two team members would then communicate and implement features until the task was complete, or sometimes altered. For what changes were made to the original plan and why? Towards the end of our project, we lost a team member. This had an interesting effect on our team. Because tasks and features were designed to be independent and not cause impediments on other tasks, the features that team member had selected for implementation did not cause holdups for other members. Once that team member was officially dropped from the class, his tasks were reset and available for other team members to implement, which did happen. For our process of task implementation, as team members learned new mobile development skills and best practices, tasks were added, removed, and changed based on our new skills and understanding of mobile development practices. Skills learned in Android affected iOS development and vice versa. Process improvements starting from scratch. The process of breaking up tasks spread across multiple features. Our team was new to mobile development and inexperienced. If starting over, our process for feature creation would be to better analyze features and break them up more. We would also like to implement a dedicated task each week for code commenting and refactoring to assist team members with implementing tasks and bug smashing in code they are unfamiliar with. This task could be rotated each week to a different team member and would help with keeping all members on the team up to speed on the changing code base. Finally, our process for our project was based on developing an app while learning about development. If starting from scratch, our process would be more structured and top-down to take advantage from speed of development rather than learning.
Our team followed MVC architecture when designing the app. We have server-side database, Firebase, and Braintree integrations acting as a model, and client-side app acting as a view and a controller. To begin with, our model was a hard-coded local JSON file, which allowed the team to work on view and controller development, while also figuring out what the model architecture should be. When the server-side was completed, the team was able to readjust the controller from the JSON files to server-side database. After first presentation to the sponsor, received new requirements for adding various payment processing methods and tweaking the login process. At first, we implemented Facebook login using Facebook SDK. However, after more research, we decided to use Firebase SDK as it provided a unified solution for Facebook, Google, and some other account integrations and possibility for account linking. We found Braintree SDK to be a suitable solution to encapsulate the various requested payment processing methods, such as PayPal, Android and Apple Pay, credit card processing, all in one tool. If we were to start the project over, we would perform more research on best practices and available tools for development of the features we needed to implement in the app. This would help us with view and controller component development. For example, implementing scroll views, tab bar navigation in iOS, and navigation drawer in Android at early stages of the apps. We would also utilize SQLite and core data to simulate database integration and not implement a remote database, as it wasn't a sponsor requirement and it took us a lot of time to stand up and modify when needed. Another major change that we would make is focus only on Android app development, as not everyone on the team had an iPhone or a Mac. That way we could have had more features completed by the deadline.
The tools our team chose for this project lent themselves well to the development of our applications. We relied on well-established applications for the development process and communication needs of our team in order to ensure the widest amount of support possible. Android Studio and Xcode are native IDEs that support mobile application creation on Android and iOS respectively. These matched our team's needs and were chosen as the main platforms to work with. To help facilitate our needs, we chose to use GitHub for source code control, along with Travis CI to help ensure our code was up-to-date, accessible, and properly functioning for every team member. One of the key components of teamwork is to have good communication. For this reason, we chose to use Slack and Discord for our constant communication and VoIP meetings. This paired with Taiga as our Scrum board, which allowed us to plan and work with each other effectively. Skype was also used for sponsor meetings due to their enterprise requirements. While our initial plans were fairly solid, some additions to our initial tools list came from the addition of some requirements by our sponsor as well as the selection of database hosting service. These additions include the use of the Firebase SDK for login management, the Braintree SDK for payment management, DataGrip SDK for database control, and the selection of GoDaddy as our host for the database server. If our team was to take on another project like this, some improvements to tooling section could be made. One of these changes would be a hope for more well-defined requirements, which would allow for the ability to plan for all required tools. Lastly, another improvement could be to cut down on the amount of communication apps by selecting a service like Discord for both live text chat, file sharing, and VoIP conference calls.
Our teamwork excelled because our communication was solid. Rather than suffer through incredibly lengthy email chains, our team utilized Slack as our main communication method, which resulted in nearly 12,000 messages being sent over the course of the past 4 months. Slack proved to be an invaluable tool in ensuring all members were up to date on the discussions amongst the team. Our team utilized Discord for meetings. Audio conferencing is much more efficient than constantly typing, and while Slack requires you to pay to utilize their audio and video conferencing features, Discord offers those services for free. During Discord meetings, we could easily talk while keeping our hands occupied on writing code. When a member wanted to show off what they were working on, Discord also allowed for screen sharing, allowing the whole team to view another member's work. Not everyone on the team has a Mac, so sharing a screen with someone running Xcode was the only way for some of the members to see the iOS app in development. Taiga also proved incredibly useful in providing an immediate visual for members to see where everyone was at. We didn't always have to ask each other, "Hey, what are you currently working on?" Because with one look at the Scrum board, we could see which tasks each member had in progress, which tasks were ready to be tested, and which tasks had not yet been started. Since the initial project plan, we lost a non-contributing team member. While this affected the amount of work our team was able to produce overall, we were able to divide up this member's outstanding tasks and carry on with the remaining members. Despite this 20% reduction in our resource pool, we were no longer left questioning whether this work was going to be completed or not, which actually improved our ability to plan sprints more effectively. If the project was started over, we believe having dedicated team project work times would have increased the amount we were able to produce overall. Everyone's schedule was different, most of it hectic, and some sprints had little completed because we did not have a dedicated time slot to drop other courses and focus on the project, which might have allowed us to get more accomplished.